there! Welcome back to another edition of Sit Down Saturday. Today we're going to be talking about this Cang Toys thing. This is the first time I feel like I had to dig into some nooks and crannies in order to have like a real conversation about something. I like that. It gives me the excitement back to third party. I love it. It's been missing. I want to get into it. Let's dig in. Where's my tinfoil? But before we do that, we got to do a little bit of housekeeping. Let's talk about this Bumblebee movie real quick. I'm glad you have put that to rest. I said I was going to do it. It took a long time. It was labor intensive and it's over. I feel good about the statements made throughout it. All of it was just to prove the point that everything lined up with Bumblebee and that they probably changed it and adapted it in order to kind of suit a need later on at the end of the day. I was thinking about doing the same thing for G1, like do a G1 breakdown of like season 1 and then season 2 and then, probably do season 2 in a couple pieces and season 3, the movie, etc. I think there is something there. I've been watching a lot of the episodes recently trying to come up with more diorama ideas, honestly, and I think there's some stuff there to kind of dig into a little bit. Speaking of G1, the Dummies hit this week with my wife asking questions, and many people seem to have loved that and asked for more. Trust me, it will be a series now. I listened to the feedback. It will be a series. It'll happen once every so often, not unlike They Love Me Not that the Dummies do as a series. It'll go on. But tying it back to G1 and tying it back to stories, you know how I like to connect the breadcrumb trails. I was also thinking about the Dummies kind of doing reviews of G1 episodes. Not every episode, or maybe one day, but, look at one arc like Starscream's Brigade and then have a conversation about that episode, which I think could be fun too. Let me know what you think about that. Obviously, it would be done in Dummies fashion where we're going to call tons of stuff stupid and call ourselves stupid and call other people stupid and generally Dummies formula, right? But yeah, more wife questions coming for sure. Let's talk about the Iceman a little bit. I don't think there's a whole lot more to talk about. Many people said he looks great on the shelf. I agree, he does look great on the shelf. I'm just disappointed in the way that they handled it. I think that there's a conversation that we need to have here on Sit Down Saturday soon about expectations for a combiner and what has led to those expectations and what I am looking for specifically so that it's very clear to everyone else how I sort of grade all this stuff in regard to combiners. Because combiners are tricky, right? You gotta pull up, everything has to be a triple changer and then 5 triple changers have to be 1, right? So it gets tricky. I think it would be worthwhile taking a look at that topically. There's been people in the past that have been like, man, how can you like Zeta? The materials are thin. I can explain why, if I jumped into that topic. So I think we're gonna do that soon. Maybe next week, who knows? The world is our oyster. Speaking of the world, is everybody healthy? Is everybody safe? Is everybody feeling good? I still haven't heard from that one individual. Please get in contact with me. I will get you set up. I feel like there's light at the end of this tunnel. I'm starting to feel good. And they say we're outside. I feel like it's getting close. Also this week for the Force Friday SH Figuarts unreleased figures, people have been saying, look, it's very common amongst SH Figuarts line, Dragon Ball Z, Kamen Rider, which I don't know anything about. It's like a bunch of bug people on bikes, I think. But that is very common amongst those lines. So yeah, I mean, that makes sense to me. I just couldn't speak to it because I don't know too much about it. I only know SHF in regards to what they do with Marvel, DC, and Star Wars. So yeah, makes sense. It's a bummer. And with that, we can go ahead and get into today's topic, which is this Cang Toys Predacons. Now, I've already reviewed the Rampage. Unfortunately, I couldn't get it reviewed in time to get it out for Thursday. So the review is going to come after the Sit Down Saturday, which initially I intended for the review to hit and then Sit Down Saturday to hit. But the review is coming. It's coming Monday, and I'm going to save my thoughts about it until then. But I want to shout out a young man named Joel W., who is a Patreon supporter. He's been in contact with me. We've been talking, and he's been talking to me a fair bit about this Rampage since I think he put in the pre-order, and he was kind enough to send it my way, and I had the chance to look at it. But in the midst of our, limited but interesting conversations regarding it, I started realizing there's a lot to roll over in this batter here. And I asked him if he would be kind enough to send me some of the information or evidence of the information that he was talking about, and he sent me a very detailed file map of everything. So I want to thank him for that. That's how we're going to kind of get into the nuts and bolts of this. But basically, it started off as a Toyworld project. It ended up being kind of adopted by Cang Toys. We'll talk a bit more about that after we get through this timeline. And then now the first figure is released with the second figure being close behind. There's been some significant changes that have happened over the course of this time period, and due to those significant changes, it may affect how I look at this piece. But in order to get to that meat and potatoes of this story, ladies and gents, let's go back in time. So let's go through the timeline on this. And this starts in June 2018. Toyworld teases Predacons that are kind of kitty in style, dare I say cute, but also have this vibe to them that they'll be stylized. And I say that because there's a motif with them of sort of Native American tribal war paint, feathers, spears, stuff that doesn't necessarily go along with the Predacons as we know them, but it's like this little inkling that something's going to be a bit different about them. There's also an Optimus Primal present, which threw most of us for a loop. Most of us just assumed that they had a set of Predacons coming, and then we're going to follow that up with a Primal. Now, in November 2018, we get to see the Predaking silhouette. My initial response to this wasn't a good one. The proportions looked wonky, the upper body looked super small, the lower body looked super big, and as a result, I was like, well, this isn't going to be parts forming, this isn't going to be what I want, and as a result, the proportions are going to look wonky. And there was also a kind of a call and response in the comments where someone said, no uses pantaloons? Toyworld responds, no. I can only assume from this, I think there's multiple language barriers here, I can only assume that what they're saying is it doesn't use the quote-unquote pants. It doesn't use the parts forming element that Zeta and Toyworld have used in the past, and it looks like DX9 and Fans Toys are using as well in order to pull off the combiner. So that pretty much confirmed what I had suspected, and I lost interest, at least in regards to a combine mode. But there's still hope at this point for me that there'll be robot modes available. December 2018, we see the shadow of Rampage. It's definitely this Cang Toys one. And with that was a statement that said, the new year is coming, our new products are ready to go. The first member of the 50 centimeter, which is a little over 19 and a half inches, so pretty much on par with the current Toyworld Zeta DX9, assuming the Fans Toys-ish scale. So it says the first member of the 50 centimeter combination TWC08 Revoltgar Rebellion is about to debut. Please look forward to 2019, our new. Okay, you can ask questions. And one person asked, is it IDW, G1, or Dreamwave? The response was mainly G1, but there are some innovations. January 2019, we get the prototype, and we get to see what Rampage is really going to look like, and it's certainly stylized. Too much stylization for my personal taste, and there's some things about it that are a little wonky to me proportionately. So at this point, it's not really even on my radar. March 2019, we get the robot prototype, and now it's certainly not on my radar. The proportions are even more wonky. The stylization is even more in your face, and I pretty much just recognized it as a thing and had written it off. That's not to say that it looked bad. I thought it looked cool in its own right. It just wasn't for me, so I kind of stopped paying attention to it. Now, in April 2019, we get the combined sword. You can see the part of the sword that Rampage comes with, so everything is in line, right? And the combiner hands are definitely the same, etc., etc. August 2019, Toyworld posts to their Weibo, from 10th August 2019, the Animal Combiner team shall be the responsibility of Cang Toys. The recent project is a bit more. The production cannot be mentioned. To improve efficiency, after team consultation, the Animal Group series from 2019 changed to the Cang Toys team operation on August 10th. Same hardware, same passion, all fans stay tuned. And with that, we get their Tantrum reveal. And it looks to kind of match the aesthetic that they have established now in regards to their Rampage. We also get a tease that this team looks like it's going to have a sixth member as a part of it, and that sixth member looks like an ape, which would take us back to the initial reveal suggesting that Primal was going to be a part of this somehow. September 2019, we get the full prototype reveal of Tantrum. In October of 2019, both prototypes are shown at TFCon. In November of 2019, we get an announcement from them that says updates is also coming. Announced the Chi-Yu, the second member of the number CT Chi-Yu-02, Land Bulls T1 test model real shot for everyone to understand the progress. The production will be delayed until around the 20th of April due to various influences before and after the spring festival. Please understand that we will control the quality level and let everyone try to surprise. Now, this is in contradiction to some of the stuff they had said previously about having members out before the end of the year, but I'm the type of guy where if you have to delay a project in order to make it right, I'm on board, so I don't really get too attached to release dates. And this is prior to the Bud Ice situation, right? Now, December of 2019, it says just yesterday, the 11th Shanghai Wire Factory Annual Conference just ended, and our first production of the Tibetan Playhouse Chi-Yu-01, the color test model of the ferocious tiger, was also on display. At the show, we also broadcasted a promotional video. Now let everyone take a look at this video in detail. And with that, there's the video. There's also these color images that are shown of Rampage with official color promotional images posted online to kind of match in their rollout. And everything sort of looks like it's par for the course, staying the course, on and on and on. Now, in January 2020, the TF user JXF,
who seems to be their board representative, posts, "This is just a color sample we made and given away to some of our distributors intended to collect comments. Color, head, and much more are being fine-tuned now." And then they make a point to say, "Not related to Toyworld now." In February 2020, they make a post and say, "Cang Toys haven't appeared for a long time. How are you guys at home? The epidemic will be affecting us during this period. I think everyone is bored, but it's slowly coming under control. Our factory will be back at work in March. Start coloring. Ferocious these days. Everyone can look forward to the final results. It's not easy." And with that comes in hand, fully painted images of Rampage. March 2020, we get, "I believe the brothers will be curious about the combination pattern for a long time. The black shadow image of the Tibetan Playhouse combination is now released. The height of the human figure is about 50 centimeters. The shadow is not the final version. The body proportions will be adjusted. Other members are still in continuous research and development. We get old and new silhouette pics of Predacons. Other members are still in continuous research and development." And with that, we get new silhouette pics of Predacons in comparison to the old silhouette pics, and the proportions are certainly different. Now my attention is back on board. We also get painted pieces of Tantrum, and we get the dive bomb reveal. The dive bomb reveal looks even more stylized in my opinion, where the robot mode is even more of a left turn away from the kind of source material, and the Falcon mode is even a left turn with the smaller head and all of that. I feel like that long Falcon head of Dive Bomb is very iconic for his character, but it's much more of a removal from what I'm looking for in robot mode. But the combined mode is starting to look more and more like it. Now in April 2020, they say big, more, new, with exclamation points everywhere. After the announcement of Land Bull's color trial model, many brothers are concerned about the new painting effect of Ferocious Tiger. Now, it's finally here. Ferocious Big Cargo trial model, official pictures released. The shape of the arm will be revealed later. The overall color matching is basically determined and may be adjusted slightly. If nothing else, the Tiger will ship at the end of the month. Thank you for support and waiting. And we get images of a color version of Tantrum as well. And they also say that Land Bull is expected to ship at the end of June. Thank you for your support. And then we get the actual release of Ferocious, and that pretty much brings us to where we are today.
So there's a couple things we gotta unpack here. One of which is Toyworld's business. What is going on? Why are they having all of these problems? The Zeta folks do Constructor, the Zeta folks do Bruticus and Superion. Toyworld announces them. Zeta breaks off from Toyworld, does Bruticus and Superion on their own. Takes a ton of their other releases, releases them with new repaints. There's a problem business-wise between the two. We agree? Good. Toyworld announces this Predacons. They say it's coming. Subsequently, Zeta announces the Predacons. They say it's coming. The ball gets rolling. Cang Toys adopts the Predacons. Now Cang Toys has a Predacons coming. There's a problem. Agreed? Good. I don't understand what's going on there, but I'm looking into it. But let's go ahead and bring up the Zeta Predacons now. The Zeta Predacons also has been under the kind of scrutiny of the fandom that it may not be doing the parts forming thing. We also have reason to believe that the Toyworld is not doing the parts forming thing. Am I the only one that's seeing the dotted lines here in some way? Now the picture of Razor Claw that we saw from Zeta looks very much more G1 than the pictures that we've seen of these bots that are coming from Cang Toys. But there is some odd comparisons to be made between the two. But where are the Zeta reveals? Where is that information? Why isn't that being rolled out? A lot of this stuff seems to happen kind of in the ether, right? Multiple Constructicons hit. Multiple Bruticus hit. And then MMC comes along later. Multiple Predacons seem to hit. Twice now. Why aren't they rolling it out? Why aren't they letting the people know, the consumers know that, look, we have one coming too. This is what ours is going to look like, so that the consumer base can make a decision based on the two. If people commit $500 some to this Predacons set that's going to be from Cang Toys, how likely are they to double dip now on your Predacons set? It better be good. It better be real good. Roll it out. Why is this Primal wrapped up in this Cang Toys? That's another question I have. Is it that it really takes 6 members to make this thing? Is one of them the hips and one of them the waist? Do I have to buy all 6 to make it work? That brings us to the larger question of this conversation that I have in regards to this. This is part 2 of it, if you're following, and that is, show me the Predacons. Show me the Razor Claw. These are the 2 components of this conversation that I need to have in order to really bite in. I have concerns about this Predacons, but the newer version of it looks far better than the older version of it, proportionately. But what's changed? Is it a redesign of Razor Claw, or is it the way they've redesigned for Primal to fit into it? I don't know. Is one the hips and one the chest? I don't know. Is Razor Claw going to be twice as big as these things, which are already twice as big? I don't know. And I need answers to that. I'm tempted by this set, man. I'm really tempted. But I need to see Razor Claw. I need to see Predacons. When they don't use the parts for transforming, proportions suffer or the bots suffer. One has to happen. The build suffers too, in my opinion, usually and generally. Look at any TFC combiner, the proportions suffer. Look at what MMC is doing with their Bruticus, the robot of Onslaught suffers to pull off the combined mode of Bruticus. Something has to suffer because physics is still physics. I just want to know what I'm buying. If we're sacrificing the robot of Razorclaw to pull this thing off, I'm in, because I'm not interested in the robot mode of Rampage or Tantrum. But if we're sacrificing the combiner mode to pull off Razorclaw, I'm out, because now for me they failed in both modes, and that's the answers that I need in order to commit. But after handling the Rampage, I'm optimistic, so I want this to work out. I want to buy it. Show me why I need to. That's what I'm asking. I'm cautious with combiners, man, because of what they've done to me in the past. Unique Toys showed me a brawl and a swindle that looked amazing, and then 3 other bots later on, and after I'd already bought the first 2 that didn't look as much so. And that's one example of many that I could go down the road of. So for me to buy in, I don't want any more mystery boxes. Show me what I'm buying. Make me feel secure in my purchase. I think a lot of us assume that this primal that's supposed to be part of the set is going to be like an added bonus thing, like the MMC Predacons that had the yellow cat that you could hang off of the back or whatever. We have no reason to believe that other than our hopes. This might be a $600 thing that we don't even know how it looks yet. Show me what I'm buying. Enough already. Can't stand it because I want to buy it. I just need you. Oh, look at this. Buying toys is a lot like gravity. All I need is a little push. So yeah, hope that helps. Hope it was interesting enough. I'm interested to see what you guys think of both this figure and the combiner and how it relates to your Masterpiece scale stuff. I know that the bots and stuff are super stylized for G1. I understand that if that's not your bag, I'm in the same place in regards to that. So you don't need to tell me about that, but tell me how you feel about the scale. Tell me how you feel about combiners and the way that we do business regarding rolling them out. I'm interested in all those opinions. Once again, shout out to Joel W. It is super appreciated. That work was outstanding. Thank you, sir. Happy Memorial Day to you as well. To everybody else, be safe though. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Until next time, take care.